And today we got 5 little backpacking hacks for you guys. Now these hacks we're going to talk about today are specifically aimed at making life a little bit more comfortable for ourselves out on trail. If you guys have followed the channel for a bit, you guys know I am all about making life comfortable out on trail. I'm all about sharing these with you guys, help you guys improve life on trail, be it a weekend backpacking trip or an 8-day backpacking trip, or even for through hiking. A lot of these tips and tricks can help out anybody based on different experience levels. You may be a new backpacker or an experienced backpacker. I can almost guarantee you guys are gonna find something useful in this video. We got 5 hacks we're diving into today, so let's jump in. Now with the first backpacking hack we're gonna talk about, we are talking backpacking food. I love doing my own homemade dehydrated meals, and I almost exclusively do dehydrated food out on trail. But one thing that I do, and I probably don't talk about as much as I should, is on the first day of a backpacking trip, I almost always take fresh food with me. Now, be that taking a steak with me. I absolutely love taking fresh food with me, especially for the first day of a backpacking trip. I'm okay carrying that little bit of extra weight for the first day and giving myself a nice meal out in the backcountry. And one way that I really help improve the eating experience when I'm taking fresh food with me out on a backpacking trip is carrying a paper plate. You can fold it in half and stuff this pretty much anywhere in your backpack. But the beauty of these is once you're done with it, chances are if you're having fresh food on a fire, like I mentioned, taking something like a steak or taking some hot dogs and, you know, doing a little bit of over the fire cooking, is you take your paper plate and you just toss this in the fire. I mean, being a paper plate, it is going to fold up and you can stuff this in your garbage bag if you're insistent on carrying garbage out. But now, obviously, talking about burning a little bit of paper garbage in a fire, that's going to totally depend on the area you're backpacking in, whether you are allowed fires or not allowed fires. So like I mentioned, taking a little bit of fresh food for the first day of your backpacking trip can greatly improve the entire trip overall. Generally speaking, I usually do a little bit shorter kilometers on my first day to kind of ease myself into the trip. So I am totally okay packing in a steak with me and some potatoes and having a nice steak and potato dinner. As we dive into tip number 2, we are going to stick with the food and beverage train. And this one specifically relates to doing an in-and-out backpacking trip. And what I mean by an in-and-out hike is if you are spending a couple days hiking into a location and then hiking out on the same trail, and you're going to exit at the same trailhead that you started at. This is something that my friends and I do quite regularly, and that is taking a nice beverage with you, be it a pop, or some of my friends like bringing a beer or two with them. And on the first night, if we plan on camping at the same location, or if we cross the campsite that we know that we're going to be camping at, say on our last night or our second last night, and finding a nice little secluded spot in your stream or water source. And what we will do is take a couple rocks and kind of build a little weir, which is basically just like a little kind of a little pocket that you can put your drinks in. And I'll usually put a larger rock over top to kind of hide them so that if somebody else hikes through and they see my, you know, nice 7-Up or Coca-Cola sitting there in the water, that someone else isn't going to grab it, because I am very much looking forward to downing and enjoying that delicious cold beverage on my hike out. Bo and I did this on our trip up to Castlegar Meadows. We had taken a couple 7-Ups with us, and let me tell you guys, after a 25-kilometer day in the scorching sun, sitting down at camp and crushing a ice cold 7-Up was absolutely amazing out in the backcountry. And like I mentioned, you can also do this with beer. I know a lot of my friends like bringing their craft beers with them and enjoying a nice cold beer on the last night of a backpacking trip. So if you're doing an in-and-out hike, don't be afraid to find a nice spot in your little water source or your stream if you got something close by a camp or a lake, and making a little weir and, you know, just kind of stashing a couple drinks in there to enjoy a nice cold beverage on your hike out. Tip number 3, we are sticking with beverages, and this one pertains to, usually for myself, the first day of a backpacking trip. And I may have talked about this tip in previous videos, but getting into the summer season, one of the big things that people are facing is getting overly hot and getting dehydrated. And one way to battle dehydration is keeping yourself hydrated and getting electrolytes into your system. Now, one of my favorite ways to get electrolytes into my system, as I've talked about in the past, is bringing Noon tabs with me. But another way that I like battling dehydration and getting electrolytes going in my system is by bringing some sort of electrolyte drink. Now, in this case, I've got a Powerade, and if you're not a Powerade fan, you can bring Gatorade. What I really like about the Powerade and Gatorades is the bottle that they come in, and it's usually got that nice little sport cap. So you can kind of pop this lid off and you've got a nice little, you know, open and closing cap, and it's nice for just downing a drink. And the beauty of these is when I bring one of these out with me on a backpacking trip, I usually just bring one smart water bottle. And when I'm down to one smart water bottle for 1 liter of water, and I've got this guy here, which is 710 mils, so it gives me 1.7 liters of water, because once I am done drinking the delicious Gatorade or Powerade or whatever kind of drink I'm bringing with me, I just rinse this guy out, and this becomes a second water bottle for me. So it kind of serves dual purpose. I just down this and this becomes a secondary water bottle for me and helps pump those electrolytes back into my system to fight dehydration. For our fourth tip today, we are going to talk some backpacking snacks. And this one specifically is going to relate to you guys and gals out there who, like myself, love backpacking with your dogs. As you guys know, and you guys probably love her as much as I do, I take Wanda with me on almost all my backpacking trips. And one of my favorite snacks out on trail is dehydrated fruit. And more specifically, dehydrated fruits that are also safe for dogs. Ones that we specifically enjoy, Wanda and myself, are bananas and strawberries. So before a backpacking trip, I will almost always cut myself up a couple of bananas and a package of strawberries, throw those in the dehydrator, and then I've got some trail snacks for myself, and it's also a little bit of trail snacks that I can pass on to Wanda. It's going to give her some nutrients, and it's also a lot lighter than packing in dog treats with me. Carrying dehydrated bananas and dehydrated strawberries, these are two fruits that are dog safe, so I love carrying these out on trail. And when I pull these out of my pack and have a little snack on trail, I can give Wanda a couple. And it's just one of those things that really helps for those people out there backpacking with their dogs. Just carrying treats with you is just one way to really keep your dog engaged on you. And it's a great way to work on that recall if that's something that you're working on. Or just like I said, keep your dog engaged on you and sort of keep them continually watching for you because, you know, mom or dad out there has some really wicked treats for me. So I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to them and less chance that I'm going to go chasing that squirrel off down trail. The dehydrated fruit is also going to pair with tip number 5, which we're going to dive into right now. This is a hack that I actually picked up from my good buddy Devin, and it's something that he learned and started doing on his thru hike of the PCT. And he brought it back up to the Canadian Rockies. And the first hike I did with him after his PCT thru hike, I saw him do this, and I have pretty much been doing this exclusively ever since. And that is hauling a little jar of peanut butter with me. Now, this works out fantastic for me because I absolutely love peanut butter. I am a smooth peanut butter kind of guy. I'm not a crunchy peanut butter guy. And, you know, mom's like Jif, and Matty also likes Jif. I almost always have a tub of Jif peanut butter with me. I take this with me in my food bag, but when I'm out hiking and I'm on trail, this little tub of peanut butter just goes into the outside mesh pocket on the back of my Osprey Exos backpack, just to make it really easily accessible. And the reason I want my peanut butter easily accessible is peanut butter is just one of those foods that is just extremely calorie dense. You get a whack of flavor and you get a whack of calories from just taking a scoop of peanut butter. So like I said, I will carry it on the outside of my pack, easily accessible. You know, just stick my finger in, take a little scoop of peanut butter, or if I got my sport candy or whatever, just, you know, a nice little scoop of peanut butter. It gives me a wicked calorie boost. And like I said, peanut butter is absolutely delicious. And as I mentioned, tip number 4, taking my dehydrated fruit. If I'm stopped for an extended break, like say we're taking lunch and I'm going to have a little scoop of peanut butter with my lunch, I'll just, you know, sprinkle some, you know, dehydrated bananas and dehydrated strawberries on top of the peanut butter. Just a little bit of extra flavor, a little bit extra calories to it, especially on those long days on trail when I'm pushing, say, 25 to 30 kilometer day. And, you know, the energy levels can tend to get a little bit low and you need that little bit of a calorie boost. Digging into your pack, pulling out the peanut butter can be a huge game changer. And if you're not into wanting to carry a full tub of peanut butter like this, it can be a little bit heavy if you're going out on an extended trip. You know, just getting those little tiny packets of peanut butter like you get at your local breakfast place like a Denny's, or you can get those little squeeze tube peanut butters. And I cannot stress enough, carrying a little bit of peanut butter with you to give yourself a wicked calorie boost when you're out there on a backpacking trip. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this video, we were going to go through 5 backpacking hacks, and you may have noticed we have gone through 5 backpacking hacks, but it does not end there. Because if you guys are looking for more backpacking tips and more backpacking hacks, I've got an entire playlist full of backpacking tips and hacks, and I'll slide that right here for you guys. So when you're done with this video, fire yourself up there, find a video in that playlist, check it out. And as always, I am Matty. Thank you so dang much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.